All right, let's go. So, once again, we're back on Crazy Tuesdays or Tight Tuesdays, whatever you want to call them. Pretty much what I do on these days is that I come and just have like an open discussion on different things that it's going to take for you to apply for schools in America and to be successful. Okay, we have a lot of people that we work with from many countries, from Saudi Arabia to Bangladesh to India to Pakistan, our good brothers and sisters over in Malaysia, Italy, and some other countries in Africa and all over the world. So, thanks for joining. So basically, I always tell you at the beginning just pretty much what our goal is. And our goal is to try to get you guys to study in America, to come to America and study and pay as less money as possible. Not just to come to America, but to figure how much money that you can get for scholarships. Because the major thing is like we mentioned before all the time, there are over 4,000 universities and colleges in America. It's easy to get into one, but the whole thing is making sure that we have the money to pay for that. And that's a whole nother thing, because most of us on here aren't rich. I know I'm not rich, so I know you're not rich. And even if you are rich, I'm sure everybody likes to save money, because rich people like to save money. So we've recently launched where we've been putting out daily videos talking about mental health and practice for international students specifically, because if you're a student trying to study in America, there's different things that you have to worry about as opposed to somebody who's already in America, an American citizen, or someone who just stays here. Excuse me. So we try to go over these points and just try to have it balanced, because we know that it's important for you guys to, see the ups and downs of this situation. Now, I always say this, I try not to guarantee. Because we know that nothing's ever guaranteed. But I could almost be for certain that if you go through some of the steps that we have in our workshops, you will get accepted into some universities, provided that you do what we tell you to do. Now, of course, we always talk about the portfolio and how good your portfolio is, which means your grades, your test scores, your level of English, your admissions essay, all these things, your portfolio. Now, let's say, for example, some schools do require a portfolio. So let's say, for example, if you apply to an engineering school, they're going to want to see your portfolio, or maybe a design school with your portfolio, or some people may go to school for music. They want to, I don't know, have some songs they wrote, whatever, make a guitar, who knows. But the school wants to see more than just your grades. And I think this is the problem that happens with a lot of non-Americans, that they think they know what these schools are looking for, and they're not quite sure. Classic example. Every year or every few years, what the universities accept or don't accept becomes more. And you have to pretty much keep up to it. So unless you're just following higher learning and trends in acceptance, then you're not going to know some of these things. Just the other day specifically, remember we were talking about Bowie State University, which is in Maryland. Maryland is my home state. Love it. Bowie State University is what we call a historically black college university. Now, we call them HBCUs. Now, real quick, not to go too much into it, but HBCUs are historically black colleges and universities, were universities that were started years ago, back when black Americans and black citizens couldn't go to school with whites. So what happened is a lot of blacks started their own universities, with land grants and things like that, and then they actually grew. Now, of course, years later, after integration and everything like that, these schools still exist. So even though some of them might be mixed, they're still considered historically black colleges and universities. These schools have a lot of history in them, and we're going to have a separate class on that, because these schools, I feel, are special in a way, not just because I went to one, but yeah, probably because I went to one, but they have special characteristics that maybe a lot of international students kind of overlook just by not knowing. So, for example, Bowie State University is a historically black college university, and basically they had what we call rolling admissions. And rolling admissions means that they will accept students at any time you apply. As they apply, they'll accept you. Now, Bowie State University was getting a lot of people applying. Probably too many people. After the pandemic, people feeling good. They want to go back to school. They're tired of the deadbeat job. So they're like, hey, we're going to go apply to schools. Apply to Bowie State University. Relatively easy to get into. 87% acceptance rate. And it's a pretty good programs. Too many people started applying. Bowie State University put a stop on it. They said, okay, listen, rolling admissions has stopped. Now, as an international student, you have to pay attention to this even more, because you're not right here with your boots on the ground, as we say. You're overseas and you're applying to these schools. So why do I always see apply to these schools early? Because you want to get in and get out and hopefully get your decisions early. There's nothing like the summertime before school starting to try to figure out where you're going to go to school. And as for international students, you have to worry about student visas and all sorts of stuff, and that's a headache within itself. So you always have to check up on information, because a lot of schools do have rolling admissions, but at any given minute they can say, look, something, the roll is over, no more rolling admissions. We talked a little bit earlier about also what we call early admissions. Now, early admissions is when maybe you go see a school, they're interested in you, you're interested in them, you go there for an interview, they offer you an admission way before the deadline is for regular people, right? So let's say they say, hey, you want to commit to us? It's September. Now, real quick, now, I always say this because some of my own kids have done it. Whenever early admission is there, there's always, usually 99% of the time, some money in the pot, because they know that for you to go into early admission for a university, let's say if you applied to Princeton says, okay, we're going to offer you early admission. Princeton knows that once you sign on that dotted line, you have to pull all of your applications from the other schools you applied to, because it's a binding contract. So naturally, you want to make sure, like, hey, listen, I want to know what the financial package is looking like, because if you're basically hunting me down, let's talk some money. And I've done that plenty of times. Just to be honest, I've done that with about 3 of my kids, where they did early admissions, and I made sure that before they signed anything, the money's right. Not, no, we're going to look at it, this, that. No, the money's got to be right. And I'm not trying to pay a dime, because one thing about me is that I am cheap. So I'm going to be cheap for you as well. There are schools out there that will pay all of your tuition, right? All of your tuition. All right. Don't believe what anybody else says. Many international students, as we mentioned before, they leave money on the table. Money on the table. Scholarships that are there. International scholarships. Leave money on the table. All right. So this is kind of like the recap what we've been doing like within the past week or so, until we start going into our major seminars. Now, our seminars are going to be more specific. They're going to be geared more towards certain classes. So we're going to have middle school seminars. We're going to have transfer seminars, maybe people that want to transfer from foreign universities to American universities. And we're also going to have high school seminars. Now, with the high school ones, we're actually going to divide them by grade, because what a 9th grader is doing might not be the same as a 12th grader. So we're going to divide those as well. Now, we're going to have some general ones, but we really want to. I really want to try to get into some grade-specific things, because each grade, there's certain things you want to make sure you have before you go to the next level. So, like I mentioned before, it's a big universe out there, plenty of schools out there. There's something for everybody. You just have to make sure that you fit into that circle and you find a school that you like. Now, another thing is you want to make sure is that you want to, if you're thinking about going to school in America and you're going back to the country, maybe you're going back to your home country and practicing, you kind of want to get an idea of what is the ranking of an American degree versus the degree from your country. Some people take it for granted and just think, hey, I go to America, my degree's higher. But, who knows how your country is? They might not really feel a degree from a Western university. And, I don't know. I'm not from your country. But you do want to check. Maybe check with some people who went to school in America. Get some ideas. Hey, listen, I want to go to school here. You have some ideas? Older people. Maybe some of your parents' friends, your grandparents' friends. I mean, you want to figure this out. There's a great a vast majority of students who go to University of America and they stay there afterwards. That's a whole nother story. But when you look at some of the other countries, so let's say, for example, when you see the students that come from the Gulf states, the Khalij, when you see the students that come from Saudi Arabia, from UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, generally these people have a high standard of living in their countries. So when they go to school in America, a lot of them, most of them come back. Most of them come back to America. They come back to their country because they're guaranteed good jobs, they have good salaries, and they have like a little bit of status. However, you have some people maybe from some of the poorer countries that have less opportunities. Once they come to America, they're not coming back. I mean, so if you see like a lot of people that come from the subcontinent, maybe India, Pakistan, this, that, whatever, they're going to come, they're going to spend some time in America because maybe the conditions in their country, it's not the greatest. Or maybe you're a doctor in your country, but you still get pennies. And we've seen countries like this where you have doctors that make pennies because there's so many of them, brilliant people from India, from Africa, all these continents and countries, brilliant people. And because they have a high level of education, they don't really get paid a lot in their country. Very educated people. I've been in classes with people that are coming to America and they're like on their third and fourth degree. They got their degree from the university of whatever African country, and they have 2 and 3 degrees, sometimes PhD. They say we can't get no jobs over there. So a lot of these people come to America to practice, and that's a whole nother story in it. So remember some of the things we talk about. This is Crazy Tuesdays. We're just going through and talking about some of the things that went on. This is our second Crazy Tuesday video that we've done today because I'm feeling good. It's warm weather. It's summertime. I'm at my parents' house, and we're really just trying to keep things moving. We're going to keep cranking it out here, as we say here in America. Keep cranking it out. And sometimes I may say some words that you mightn't understand, but trust me, when you come to study in America, you're going to hear some words that aren't necessarily quote unquote 100% pure, proper English, but we call them like slang words, kind of like street language. I don't use it too much, but you're going to pick up some of them depending on what city you go to. So if you go to New York, you're going to pick a lot up. If you go to the South, you're going to pick a lot up. And there's some other places like Texas, sometimes when they get to talking, I don't know what they're saying. And I'm from America. And that's interesting. And as you get older and you stay in these places for some time, you're going to start picking up on accents. You're going to start picking up on dialects. And these things will actually help you move forward. So I always say English, when you learn the English language, you have to learn the English language, not just to show off to your friends, but know how to use it in what situation that you're in. When to say hi and when to say howdy and things like that. Big country, a lot of opportunities, a lot of universities, a lot of things you don't know. There's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of danger, so you have to find out ways how to navigate around that. Check us out. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's keep this movement going, and tell your friends. We're trying to get people to study here. I'm here to help everybody that wants to get there. I know what to do. I've done it. This is what I do. And we want to get y'all to the point where you're learning and you're getting degrees and you can go back to your home country, wherever it is, and you could be successful. You can take care of your families. You could do whatever. You could buy your little sister a pony or, or whatever you want to do with your money and time. Get with me next time. Signing out. See you next time.